Okay, so if you have a liquid cooled bike and the fan is not coming on, or you don't think that it's coming on in time, your fan temperature switch may be to blame. One of these looks like this. They usually tie into maybe the radiator or some of the conduit in your coolant system or something like that, or sometimes into the block of the engine. And really they're no more complicated than just a simple toggle switch. You know, something like this. But instead of the actual switch part, which you actuate by hand, they are actuated by temperature. I'm not entirely sure how they work. There's a little thing that, you know, when it heats up, it's like full of oil or grease or something. When it heats up, it expands and it makes a connection. It's actually a super simple device. And what you can do is you can pull them out and test them. I have just gotten a request from a forum member because he has found that he has a bad switch, and so I pulled two of these out because I have two parts bikes for his bike outside, and I'm going to test them both. First thing we're going to do is make sure they have zero continuity when cold. Alright, got my multimeter here set on ohms. The 1 means infinity, which means there's no connection between here, no continuity. You can see if I touch it, it goes down to just about towards 0. That's where it ought to be. Since this switch is cold, it's out in room, you know, temperature or whatever, it should not be making a connection right now. And so when we touch these two leads like so, no connection. Touch these two leads, no connection. Good. That means that neither of these are stuck open, but we need to determine whether or not they actually close to make a circuit and at what temperature. So now we're going to go do that. Okay, this part of the test we're going to do a little bit quietly because my wife is still sleeping and I don't want her to know that I'm boiling motorcycle parts on the stove. But basically what we did here is I made this little holder out of an old wire hanger because you don't want the parts to be touching the bottom of the pan. And I just submerged it in water so that about half of it is underwater. And I'm just going to heat it up. I've got my altimeter so I can figure out when we get continuity, if and when we get continuity. Then I've got my touchless thermometer. See, we're up to 110 already. My touchless thermometer for determining how hot it got when it finally opened up. Not yet. We're up to 144 degrees already. Alright, so you can see the water is boiling, so something in there is over 212 degrees. But check this out, right? There's no continuity on this brown one here, but the black one, I am getting continuity. Oh, I don't want to burn myself, but see that there? So this black one is opening up. The brown one, however, is bad. Alright, and one thing to remember, since the water was boiling, we know it was over 212 degrees in there. And that's what my digital thermometer said. Actually, it read up to like 225 or something like that. However, since I was suspending these in the liquid and not putting it right down on the bottom of the pan, these switches were not getting up to that full temperature because the water is always going to be a little bit cooler than the bottom of the pan. And my digital thermometer was reading the bottom of the pan since it sends, like, I don't know, an infrared laser or something like that down to the pan. It went through the water and down to the pan. So what I was reading on my thermometer was actually a little bit less than what these guys were actually warming up to. That's why you want to suspend it in the water, because A, you don't want to burn it out, and B, you really want to give it, you know, you want to put it in the environment in which it's going to be operating anyway. It's better to use like a cooking thermometer or like a candy thermometer or something like that. And these things really want to open up like around 170 to 190, something like that. I found this one to be good, so I'm going to ship this off to him, and I hope he finds success with it. If you guys want to test, like if you've got a temperature gauge in your bike, you can test those in the same way, because what they do is they sort of open the switch slowly. They sort of decrease resistance, and that's how the dial goes up, or increase resistance. I don't really remember. I don't know, one or the other. You can also test thermostats the same way. The ones that open up your coolant system to let coolant go through, you can test those the same way.